Hi everyone. I'm gonna try to do a face full of favorites. I'm not sure how it's gonna go though because my battery is really close to being dead. First thing, Paula's Choice Paula's Choice Resist Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense SPF 30. I've talked about this so many times. P.S. Shake well. Shake well. I think because it's a mineral sunscreen that's only zinc oxide, I'm almost out of this one. The packaging has changed. I've got a box right here with my replacement, my new one in there. Yeah, so it's 13% zinc oxide. It leaves kind of a matte finish, rubbery, grippy, holds on to foundation amazingly. I wanted to put it on camera because it does have a tint to it and it's probably a little darker than like my neck. So I do make sure not to bring it down on my neck. It can be drying if you don't have enough moisture underneath, depending on your skin type. This has been a long favorite of mine. I've just gone through stages where it didn't work too well for me, like when I was pregnant and my skin was a lot drier. But for the winter, for example, I just add extra moisture underneath it because it just works with foundation so well for me that I'm motivated to make it work. So I don't think I have a favorite foundation that I want to talk about in this video. So yeah, another favorite, dyed eyebrows. I just dyed them. I'd been having such a hard time with my eyebrows and I couldn't figure out why until I realized I like looked at them and kind of looked at them at an angle. I'm like, oh, they're like totally blonde. No wonder. My favorite eye primer of late is a concealer. It's the Revolution Conceal and Define in C0.5. It's very pink and it can be a little weird under my eyes. It's not my favorite formula under my eyes, but it's good at holding on to eyeshadow, and the color is good, I think, on my eyelids because I have less, you know, kind of like purpley, bluey discoloration on my lids that can go really gray with this kind of tone of concealer. So it's just like really brightening on my lids and gives me some coverage to tone down freckles and veins and that more kind of like reddish discoloration that's going on the eyelids. My battery is like actively dying. Okay, this is not gonna happen. Okay then, I may come back, I may not. Okay, many hours later. This morning has been a comedy of errors. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been loving this palette. It's the Huda Beauty Amethyst Obsessions palette. I didn't think I would like it as much as I do, and I really like it. So I think I'll take this kind of pinky shade into the crease. The crease. Try to smooth out some quite old creases with my Sephora Pro 10 crease brush that occasionally comes back in stock with Sephora. It's just so pretty. I don't think Temptalia gave this a super high rating, but I find in practice I really like them. Things aren't super pigmented, and I don't remember what her issues were with this, but like day-to-day wear, I really like how they perform. I like how the mattes work. The shimmers are different and interesting, and I like how they work. One of my favorite colors is this one. It is so, I don't know, so beautiful. Let's see. Put that plummy color down and then put that over top. It's not applying very nicely with this brush, but I know it's definitely applied really nicely with that funky little Sigma brush I've been using a lot lately. It's from that, originally from that Performance Eyes collection. I'll stick the name, picture, whatever, up on the screen. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put the middle shade over the top here, this one. I might put the deeper plum purple in the crease. A little more depth, contrast, since that lid and crease colors are now pretty similar. I'm gonna use this Luxie 141 that came in BoxyCharm this month. See how that does. It's very tiny. Since I tend to get eyeshadow all over the place, and I don't have a lot of room between my crease and my eyebrows, sometimes I can really benefit from something really small like this. That little Sigma brush I was talking about also was good for this type of task. So I think I might take this color and just kind of go along the edges, hopefully not smear eyeshadow everywhere. I'm going to take the Luxie 131 mini angled from that set. Just to add hopefully a little diffusion of the edge in a slightly different color tone. One of my favorite lines of pencil liners, NYX Faux Blacks. I have several colors in this line that I enjoy. This one's not the best. Blackberry. It could use a little more pigment. Burnt Sienna is a nice one. Black Olive is a good one. Oxblood, I think, that's also a good one. I've got a clean sponge, so I guess I'll do the foundation. The BeautyBlender, what's it called? Bounce Liquid Whip Longwear Foundation 1.10. This is like maybe half a shade, full shade too dark for me, but I feel like it's usable. I have worn it once, but I wasn't really paying attention to how it wore through the day, so yeah. Taylor from the Taylor just recently reviewed this, and I've only watched half of it, so I know she wasn't enjoying it that much. It matched her quite well, which I was a little surprised. Usually she wears things that are a different undertone and that are, I think, a little bit deeper. It's hard for me to say because what she wears, the undertone tends to be so different, like the Dermacol 208 and the CYO Life Proof in 101. Both of those have very different undertones than what works for me. But I feel like she's also pretty flexible with the shade she uses, because she does take it down on her neck, which I don't generally. And she's just kind of willing to make things work. But I felt like this shade actually matched her quite well, which just kind of boggled my mind. Like, wait a second, that's a shade I can wear too. Most of the shades she likes are way too dark when I put it on my face. So I'm not sure what that's all about. This is not applying very well. I think maybe I should have put like a moisturizing primer, because it's been a while since I put my skincare on. So my face is probably a wee bit dry. Oof. Ow. My sponge just like pulled my hair. I grabbed onto it and pulled it. Okay, concealer. Now we're back to a favorite. Oh, Jack. Cover FX Power Play in N-Fair 1. This wears beautifully on me. The color is good. It doesn't make my under eyes look gray, but it's still quite light. Works pretty well as a spot concealer, though I don't spot conceal very often. I'll do a little more of it today, so why not? Why is Jack awake? Oh, I was watching Ulta's stories, which I normally skip through on Instagram, and they were saying Tarte Shape Tape. It was like a person from Tarte, I think, on the stories, and they said that Tarte Shape Tape was a water activated concealer. What? I have never heard of such a thing. So she was saying that like it would blend out better with a sponge, like a damp sponge. Is that why it looks bad on some of us? Because we're not blending it out with a damp sponge? I was confused and slightly intrigued. Alright, I might need to kind of power through this, the rest of this face. Alright, I'm gonna set my under eyes before they start creasing. And definite favorite, hate this packaging because it gets so messy, but the Nars Light Reflecting Setting Powder Pressed. I just bought a new one. I just finished one. It is so good. If you have like mature skin, drier skin, texture, it sets foundation really well. It sits under my eyes beautifully, and then it's just like so dry feeling, but doesn't add, you know, I have a good amount of product under there, but not like baking level amount of product, and it locks everything in so well. I'm gonna use my Hourglass Arch brow pencil. This is one that I go back to. The shade is Ash. I have recently dyed my eyebrows. Now that's a favorite. I use the Refectocil in number 3 Natural Brown. And I kind of left it on a little bit longer than I normally do, so they're pretty cool toned looking at the moment, which is totally cool with me. But I do have to be a little more careful what brow products I use, and also not to use anything too dark because the brow hairs are pretty dark right now. Like they're approaching darker than my natural hair color. So my brows are naturally blonde, kind of like an ashy blonde, which up close it's like, oh, you can see them, but when you're like at a distance, when they're not dyed, you really can't. And so what I'll notice is that like I'm just struggling to get my brows to look okay. And that's usually at some point I'm like, you know what? Like, why am I reinventing the wheel? I just need to dye them again. And it's all of a sudden, I still struggle. I always struggle with brows. It's by far my least favorite part of doing my makeup. It's like, it's a really important part to me, but I have such a hard time getting them to look the way I like them. But it is definitely easier after I've dyed them, because it's like I'm not having to completely start from scratch where it's like I have all this hair but you can't really see it, so it's like I'm trying to create the shape without being able to see the hair very well. Then I need to use like a tinted brow gel to give some more contrast, and it's just a whole thing. But I do like this pencil, and you get a lot of product compared to something like a little micro mini pencil. I mean, I can't even say how many months and months and months and months I've used this over the years, and I still have quite a bit left. It's crazy. But it is much thicker, so if you're looking for like really precise small brow strokes, obviously you can't do that, but I do feel like this gives me a similar effect to what I end up with at the end of the day with my little skinny pencils. Since I do have this cool toned eye look, I have several blush favorites. One of them that I've been using all the time, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen me mention this a whole bunch. It's the Found Baked Illuminating Blush in Peach Glow. This is pretty lightly pigmented. If you are fair, I think this only really works on fair skin. I mean, I could build it up. You would have to use like a dense brush if anything darker than quite fair. But like medium skin, I don't know if you'd really see anything. Since I tend to have a heavy hand, I appreciate a little bit more sheer blushes. For me personally, I like a shimmery blush, so I've been enjoying that. And that you can get at Walmart. Their website is discoverfound.com, and I believe they're exclusive to Walmart. Another one that you can get at Walmart, but also at Ulta, is the Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush in Peach Primrose. I was going through a phase where I was wearing this all the time. I mean, this could totally work with this eye look. I just think what I would like to use, because I'm not sure if I've shown it on my channel, I don't know, in the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush Palette. It's Mood Exposure, which is a shade you can get outside of this palette. And I always think that this is going to be kind of plummy and whatever, but I don't really find it plummy per se. It's just kind of like a natural flush color on my face. Take my Real Techniques blush brush. This is one of those shades where it's like I struggle to really even call it a color. It's like I don't know what color this is supposed to be, but it just looks really natural. On me. So one of the highlights I've been liking a lot is the Maybelline Master Chrome in 250, which is the collab with Nikki Tutorials. And I believe is exclusive to Ulta. This doesn't last quite as well on my skin. I feel like it kind of brushes away a little more easily. And the other thing I've really been enjoying is again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this mentioned a whole bunch, the Natasha Denona Super Glow highlight. And in Fair, it seems quite dark, but it just translates as like really reflective, shiny, whatever. And the pricing on this is not super high. You know, I think you think about Natasha Denona and you think about those crazy like $200 palettes. This is an expensive highlight. It's like $38. It's similar to a Becca highlight, but I feel like I prefer this formula to Becca highlights quite a lot. This is just a lot more reflective. So I've been wearing this one a lot, and it lasts really well. It doesn't have a super distinctive like color tone, so it doesn't look too white. It doesn't look too yellow. And I am going to put a little more mascara on because I just had a tiny bit on to drop off my kiddo. And so, where is it? I've been really liking this mascara. Honestly, I don't get really into mascara. It's unusual for me to feel like I have any sort of strong feelings about any mascara, unless they're negative. And but this one I really enjoy. It doesn't build up quite as fast as I would like, but I feel like now that it's been open and I've used it for a couple weeks, I'm able to get more of the look I like, get more product on my lashes a little more quickly, and it layers on top of itself really well. So even if I let it totally dry, I can go in with another coat and it really works nicely. It gives some volume and length and still has a little bit of that like fluttery look where the tips of your lashes aren't getting totally gooped up. Alrighty, so I put mascara on my lower lashes as well. I like this on the lower lashes. 2, battery ran out. No, not battery. SD card ran out of space. So I am gonna put some tinted brow gel on. My favorite has been the Loreal Brow Stylist Plumper in medium to dark. Unfortunately, they discontinued this, so not super helpful. The darker brows with with all this white hair coming back in is a little much, but I like a dark brow. So I finally just buckled down and bought this again. I have used a full size and a travel size of this. It's the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix setting spray. It's the only setting spray that I find really prolongs the wear of my makeup. And I have other setting sprays that I like for when my skin is drier, but when my skin is oily, this I feel like actually helps makeup wear well. It's alcohol free. Does have a little bit of a scent. I don't mind it. Some people really dislike it. I think it smells like rosemary. I've heard other people say it smells like feet. I don't know what that's all about. It's not the best mister. I think the travel size one actually has a better mister than the, or at least the travel size one that I had. I've actually been doing just like balm. Lately, because I feel like I do this like fully intense base, and then if I just go super natural on my lips, I don't feel like I'm super overdone. Because if I have any color on my lips, a lot of times I'm like, oh, this is just too much. Because I have so much makeup everywhere else on my face too. And I want some like kind of relaxed looking component. So I'm gonna use my Jack Black SPF 25 Shea Butter. I'm almost out. But I do also get the foundation off my lips before I do this, just so that what little natural color in my lips I have is actually visible. I think that's it. I think I said all I was going to say, and my battery's about to die, so I'm just gonna wrap this up. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you soon. What's up?
Look at the difference.
Oh, that's where the bow is from.
And I'm going to look for it.
We know where it is.
Yep, it's in the kitchen. We found it. So I can fix it later. I can sew it back on.